Greetings, my people. Greetings, my people. How you doing? I greet you how I always greet you. You know by now if you following. BB for Holiday, African Liberation. Today or tonight rather, I want to talk about the way we're trained to think. And it's been a while since I brought you a book, but this one I got is a very good one. The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. And I want us to understand the factor of, and because see, a lot of times we always talk about we are warring, we at war, we at war, we at war, blah blah blah. But as the great Steve Coakley, would always teach, we don't know who doing what. We don't know how to identify stuff. Like sometimes we use terms and we use them so loosely. We use terms like the Illuminati. We're so general. We say they. Now there are they, and y'all know it's a they. But we have to be a little bit more. I have an elder that always talks to me about being precise, being precise, being precise. So this is one of the tentacles, Tavistock Institute. But in my opinion, whose opinion? My opinion. There's a difference between an opinion and a fact. There's a fact that there's an institute called the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations. That's a fact. It's not an opinion. My opinion is that it's the brain of how our brain works. But it's been updated. We don't talk about that. It's been, because see, this is what we understand, that we live in a systematic system of racism, white terrorism. So under this system of racism, white terrorism, everything is total control. We should know that. It's just like just looking. Sometimes it's not always. We try to be so deep. We try to be so technical, and we're trying to figure out all these intricate ways to enter the house. Sometimes it's as simple as opening the door, turning the doorknob. So, in my opinion, that this is the brain. I'm just going to be reading a couple of pages here and there. Then we're gonna kind of talk about it. Okay, and it was written by a cat named John Coleman, Coleman. And this is just the forward. Okay, and the full title is The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, Shaping the Moral, Spiritual, Cultural, Political, Economic Decline of the United States of America. Now, anytime we're looking at stuff through, if we're using our African mind, at least I know for me, when I'm using my African mind, I look at everything through an African vision. So when I'm reading any European, when I'm reading any other, I'm able to decipher whose view or lens I'm looking at this through. But for us real centered Africans, we should be looking at everything from an Afrocentric. Even when it's a Eurocentric, we have to we have to look at how it works against us. Anytime something is coming from a European, how it works against us, because we know they can't work for us or with us. But this is the forward. It said the Tavistock Institute of Human Relations was unknown to the people of the United States before Dr. Coleman exposed its existence in his monograph. The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, Britain's control of the United States. Britain's control of the United States. Up to that time, Tavistock had successfully retained its secretive role in shaping the affairs of the United States, its government, and its people since its early beginnings in London in 1913. So we know we have a starting point of at least 1913. Now, a lot of times, do we really understand how America socially engineers things? socially engineers us. One of the main reasons is, and great none of Malcolm X always told us how the media was the most deadliest weapon. That the media was the most deadliest weapon. I'm gonna read just a couple of highlighted sections that and this is out of the first chapter, founding the world's premier brainwashing institute. Okay, and this is just some highlighters. You have to get the book yourself. It says, if we understand the mechanisms and motives of the group mind, it is possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without them knowing it. Let me read that again. If we understand the mechanism, they say in them, if we understand the mechanisms and motives of the group mind, it is possible to control and regiment the masses according to our will without them knowing it. This is Edward Bernays. And that's Bernays, Bernays. See, and I always, even though it's in a Eurocentric fashion, you got to go back and get it. You got to go back and understand how it's relevant to now. Okay, and it says, without them knowing it, Bernays postulated. He called this technique engineering consent, consent. He called this, he being Edward Bernays, he called this technique engineering consent. One of his best known techniques of achieving this goal was the indirect use of what he called third-party authorities to shape the desired opinions. Check this out. If you can influence the leaders, either with or without their conscious cooperation, you automatically influence the group which they sway. This technique he called opinion making. Okay, so we know we got two sections where that Edward Bernays and the Tavistock Institute learned. And I mean, like we said, it's formulated in 1913. But we understand that there are 2 points that are formed. Engineering consent, which was a mechanism and motive of the group's mind and controlling their minds without them knowing it. And then also you have this, what he calls third party. Hold on. Go in the red party. He called this opinion making. I just have to run it down. So we know we're dealing with engineering consent and opinion making. And forgive me if I'm making errors, but that might be so tight sometimes because we do homework together. Okay, another highlighted section. One of the main objectives at Tavistock was to, now check this out. Sometimes we have to understand, us as Black men and Black women, African men and African women, that I always say we knock off Europeans, we knock off crackers. Because we value our women the way Europeans have taught us to value our women. We're going to talk about that later, but listen at this. One of the main objectives at Tavistock was to achieve the degradation of women. Tavistock recognized that Jesus Christ had brought a new place of respect in the order of civilization to womanhood, which prior to his coming had never been present. One more time, I'm going to read that. One of the main objectives at Tavistock was to achieve the degradation of women. We're going to understand what degradation means. Degradation, degradation, the degradation of women. Tavistock recognized that Jesus Christ has brought a new place of respect in the order of civilization to womanhood. So he's saying their women. He ain't talking about our women. He's not talking about African women. He's not talking about my sisters. That's why my sisters have to return to their same way of thinking. Because we on somebody else's frequency, y'all. We doing all of this and we not understanding we loving how the brain has told us to love. You feel what I'm saying? We're loving the way the brain has told us to. The brain, which I said, which part did I say, in my opinion, was the brain of racism, white terrorism, and the fabric of America and every other non, or especially Eurocentric, Greco-Roman, however we want to break it down. You want to split hairs? We can do that. But I'm talking to my people in this particular section. We look at how, and this was funny what I was talking about. Okay, so we're going to do something else. When I talk about how and I always use myself, because y'all say, oh, you can't say that. That ain't true. Then you start coming with a whole bunch. That's another thing. Sometimes we debate what we should just be sitting down, think tanking and thinking about. We should just be think tanking. Us as Africans. Tavistock was a think tank. Our enemies have think tanks. They think on how they're going to control us. They think on how they're going to make us turn against each other. You feel me? So what they saying is that prior to the coming of Jesus Christ, now all of us, we ain't got to get all technical and fight, but if we Africans and we know our way, we know that Maya, and we know that Hathor. We know that these concepts and these existed way before somebody, Jesus Christ, was born. So he's not talking about bringing civilization in respect to our women, because our women were respected. We went off of Maya, balance. How we having masculine energy, but we not having feminine energy. We ain't talking about that, the brat, all of that crazy feminine, masculine, young MA energy. We're not talking about that. All of that is some crazy stuff. That's not us. But the brain has taught us how to do this. So we understand that right there, somebody had to bring their women civilization. So what were their women like? Because sometimes we don't talk about the European women. You know, we'll listen to sellouts and suckers like Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, and we yuck it up with them. There's no consequences. You know, and something that was sad to see, we still talking about this brain. Because all of this, what I'm talking about now, is relevant from the standpoint of how we're taking things in through the media, through that eye. That one eye, that television. That one eye. So I watched the interview, and I haven't watched much of Nick Cannon since he made that error in his boldness. You got to be about that life when you start saying stuff. But he forgot where he was. He forgot he was just Nick Cannon. So no harm, no foul. I don't look for a celebrity to save me. I'm not gonna beat up on that guy. Because he ain't there. All celebrities, y'all can disagree with me all you want to. All celebrities are integrationists. All celebrities are integrationists. Because if they was race first and black first, they wouldn't be accepted. You can't debate with that. You can't debate with that. So it was kind of sad to watch Nick Cannon neutered like that. And the interview I was talking about was Tamika Mallory. See, we got to know how to place these people, in my opinion. We got to know how to place these people. You know, I'm sure Tamika Mallory is a cool sister. But to me, they're kind of jaded. You know, because we should be understanding Louis Farrakhan's mind in 2020. And that's no shout. That's no knock to the Nation of Islam. There are some great people in the Nation of Islam. But that concept is religionized. you know? So certain things, and I bring her up because I remember she made a name by being close to Farrakhan at the Million Man March. So there's no knock to that sister, no knocking to that sister, but I'm leery of people that are close to him because we know what Louis Farrakhan is. But he's part of that. This video is not about Farrakhan, but let's make it a point of how things get filtered through us. So to me, through celebrity, how we learn how to love our women, how we learn how to be men. A reference point in a TV show I always use is Martin. See, remember, look at how they dumbed down, and I'm gonna use some episodes. One in particular. Okay, let's look at, since we're talking about women. Now y'all can agree to disagree. Tell me if you agree, tell me if you're not on this point. That the colorism, like, cause some of us, like Willie Lynch, light skin, dark skin. Some brother, I was a brother at one point, I preferred light skinned women. Because all of us go through various stages of self-hate. But as we come into our knowledge on this journey, we should be getting that stuff up out of us. So you can't indict me for having shades of self-hate. 12, however old you are as a child. Because everything been taught through us through this eye. So, like, I can remember, like, look at how they always marketed Pam. What was her attitude like? And she was dark skinned. See, this is what I love about Mama Frances Cress Welsing and Dr. Patricia Newton. See, people like them, they teach you how to see through this stuff. Sometimes y'all might say, oh, now you're making. No, you got to understand how they pitch stuff to us. Look at the way Pam was marketed. Loud. Buckshot, what he called it. He made fun of her hair. So that's why when suckers like 50 Cent makes comments at people like Naturi Naughton, who was a beautiful dark-skinned sister in my opinion, when he talks about her hair. That's the first thing these sucker men go for. They go for our sister's hair. They go for their features. Because first thing we want to call sister is nappy head, this, blah, 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 blah. But that's how this stuff was filtered, in my opinion. Gina was, Gina applehead, stuff, but a lot of times look at how they market her. Now, I'm not saying that this is the theme in every one of these situations, but also, how masculinity got taught. Look at the type of male Martin was. He was insecure. He was sexist. We didn't believe in sexism. I'm talking about before invasion. So don't come on here with your little busted up facts talking about what we was. Anything we're talking about, and we're talking about real African sanity, we're talking about before the coming of any foreigner. Any foreigners. How we thought as a collective. How we viewed our women. We didn't view our women as lesser, inferior. But a lot of that how it was brought to us, and several also when they talk whenever they would try to depict the revolutionary character. Remember the episode of it was Tommy and the cracker chick named Aquanetta. Now remember the brother the cat they had playing the revolutionary. Look at how they always project silly, over the top. Look at how they project the conscious black man type, even in their living color. Now we joke and say, T.I., you do actually be talking like that, bro. And I say some things to these celebrities, but it's like y'all gotta learn up. And all of this is still about that one eye, because every entertainer taught us through the media. That's what they are. They're entertainers. I know y'all might like Ice Cube, but he's an entertainer. I had to be made to understand that Tupac, much as Tupac taught me a lot, but he was an entertainer. Now, he had revolutionary ties, but he chose entertainment, did he not? Okay. And that's big brother to me, so no thing. But I'm talking about how this shaping of the mind. Now, it gets deeper. This is just a breadcrumb of what I'm talking about. And for anybody that's just coming in, we're talking about the Tavistock Institute, the shaping of the mind. So we're talking about how they were saying one of the main objectives at Tavistock was to achieve the degradation of women. Tavistock recognized that Jesus Christ has brought a new place of respect in the order of civilization to womanhood, which prior to his coming had not been present. So they saying that their women didn't even have. Now this is through a European eyes. It's not through Obasi's eyes. This is through, John Coleman. So we got to learn how to filter and the information. So we're on this frequency when we look at I don't even know if Meg the Stallion is a man or a woman. I don't know that. I know this agenda how they doing a lot of this tricky stuff. So I don't know whether to put, but she's not a black woman, but Cardi B. Look at how they market it now. And I'm just talking about how they did stuff, how they projected the revolutionary, how they used and I was talking about Martin, how they use like stuff like that to teach our minds. Y'all following what I'm saying? How they taught our minds. So their women didn't even have civilization. What else stuck out to me? And so we gotta understand for some of y'all, now think, use your brain, use your head for something other than a hat rack. Now think, what form of, especially my people, what were the shows? What were the influences that taught you how to think? That how did you pick up, sisters? How did you pick up womanhood? I'm talking about through looking at this eye. What shows shaped your opinion? What forms of media and entertainment shaped your opinion? Because that's what it is. When we talk about a lot of this social engineering, there was a video I came across. I don't know, was it Crazy Bone? But he was reading off. That was the second time. I don't know the name of this, so maybe y'all can put it in the comment section. He was talking about how they had this meeting that changed the direction of hip hop. And what he said, they made him sign like non-disclosure where they couldn't say nothing or couldn't say anything. But I believe this, and I'm not done with the book, but this is the shaping of how we thought. They were the people invested in they. Remember we talked about the they? I don't know which faction, so that's when I used they. But the object of the meeting was to take hip hop in a different direction, more gangster, real shoot 'em up, shoot 'em up. It wasn't no more. He said that the gist of it, that I don't think he was talking like from he was there, but we got to understand if that was Crazy Bone, we got to understand how Bone shaped, a lot of things. But back to the point, this was to take it away from like the heavy D type stuff. Any poor righteous teachers, any Public Enemy, Arrested Development, any conscious shaping music. They didn't want no more of that. It was now because the theys had invested in private prisons. So they wanted to use the music. And look at how this still works today. Look at how through my generation was. My generation. I grew up like right in the heart of that '90s stuff. So that's why I said Tupac taught me. I just happened to gravitate toward him. But we had so much. So when we had NWA came out, they helped us come out calling ourselves niggas. With a Jew, Jerry Heller with them. No, Nick Cannon's scared to say Jew. He's scared to say y'all Jews are rotten like y'all. But they're not gonna call themselves kikes. We gotta understand this. We gotta understand and get them back their stuff. We gotta understand how this stuff got to us. We gotta look at the movies we got. We got movies like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. What did they show us doing? They shaped us. They shaped us. We were fighters. We come from greatness. So y'all got to use your brain and not use our story, his story, but our story in a Zoom. Like you're like, we came into this knowledge. We came into, we understand. This is how sometimes knowledge gets regurgitated back to me from other people that I'm having conversation with. Yeah, but that's just the fall of man and everything happened like that. And, that's just, no, it's not that simple. Anytime the pale horses and the others encountered us, we took losses. So they learned how to shape us, make sure we never understand who we were, make sure we never understand the fight the powers that be. Fight the powers, make sure we never understood that. One of speaking to Tupac, I think it was Holler If You Hear Me. He said, will I quit? Will I quit? They claim that I'm violent, but still I keep representing, never give up on a good thing. If I couldn't stop, it's a hood thing. Now, this part right here, now I'm like a major threat because I remind y'all the things you were made to forget. We were made to forget this stuff. So we're looking at something that we've never seen. This is not us. Before the coming of foreigners, there was no homosexuality because we understood that goes against the laws of nature. Before the coming of foreigners, don't come in here with your little busted facts trying to educate. Crackers don't come in here trying to educate. Before y'all brought y'all little nasty self, before the Romans, before the Greeks, before the Asians, before anybody, we didn't think like that. You don't have to make laws on us not messing with children because that wasn't in our nature. We wasn't the Greeks. We wasn't the Romans. Y'all people running around here in these Greek fraternities. Greeks are freaks. And we ain't talking about Antetokounmpo. Look at that. Antetokounmpo, but he Greek. That's us, that's African. They were Claudius, Flavus, Cornelius, Tiberius, Julius, Greco-Roman. So we got to understand how we got scrambled up in this. And I said, this is the brain. It's just a part. And I just wanted to share because we've been acting a damn fool lately. Like I've been so with this election. I mean, it breaks down a lot about how these polls are worked. We got to understand. We got to wake up out of this illusion. There is no going to the local level of the slave ship and voting. We behind enemy territory. I understand. I know y'all gonna say about it. You can come in, try it. About checks and balances and about who do what. Two birds on the same wing. I don't care what part of the thing you point to. It's the enemy's bird. I understand. Yes, we can get laws changed, but we're in the enemy's house. How much you think these people gonna let you move their furniture around? All right, now damn it, we let you move the sofa. And we let you bring your children in here. But when it starts to really affect their power, they're gonna shut it down, whether it's local level, top level, middle level. Matter of fact, there's a point. And I'm about to end it, but I just wanted to share this. I just wanted to share some of this. We've been really going crazy. We actually think so. We will say that Joe Biden is a pedophile. We will say we will share the memes. We will, because we don't really understand how we're thinking. We're thinking crazy. We think like them. So we'll say that, and we'll say all of this stuff, but do it stick? Do it stick that this cracker is a sick pervert? And I don't even know if he'll make it into office, because everything is in the enemy's hands. So I don't know what to think. Some of this stuff, I don't know. It just has to play out how it plays. But no matter if we're on a local level, there's still two old, grumpy old men, two old dusty crackers. One over here talking about how he wants to control you. The other one over here talking about how he wants to control you. They ain't talking about giving you no control. Well, you still asking. Cube asking. Somebody, he got them to agree. They ain't agreeing to nothing. He asking. You think they're gonna give you the funds to liberate yourself? Now, half of us, what will we actually do with it? So we gotta understand how we thinking. And stop just saying stuff and getting so emotional. We get so emotional and we don't know how to filter things because we done been shifted. For us that's African, did we become African? Did we go through a cleansing? Did we go through a process of cleansing ourselves from this white terrorism that's in us? The self-hate that was put in us. Because a lot of us act like we was conscious and we ain't never had no self-hate. Self-hate has various forms. Self-hate has various forms. And I believe all of us suffer from it in one way or another until we are we're working toward healing. Nobody's walking around here got it all together, got all of it, because we'd be free. But we working toward it. You ain't worried about it. You ain't got to say, well, I ain't perfect. Them same church answers. Some of y'all done brought them same church answers over here. Well, I ain't, I'm still working on it. Work harder. Work harder. But we got to understand who controlling your mind. I want y'all to do your own research. And so I leave you how I greeted you, in the words of a BB Fahodier. African liberation for African people, to others.